All right, good evening. Little pre-show. We go live here in 4 minutes. Good evening, everybody. We're all situated here and ready to go. Tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer is going to be here at the bottom of the hour. And these days of disclosure, it's crazy stuff going on. And he has got some pretty interesting information that he's going to bring forward tonight. Some witnesses dealing with special access, secret access programs. And also, I'm not going to say who, but he's got a pretty big name that he is going to pull into the picture tonight. You have to wait for that. But it's going to be interesting. So there you go. Now, that'll be coming up here shortly. Also, last night, we're going through the blue moon, red moon thing right now, and it's been extraordinary. And last night we had a sighting when we left the bunker and went up top and had a sighting last night. But also last night when all of this is going on, we took some pictures after the show once we got home, and we were taking pictures of the sky, and we photographed some blue orbs, and they're very compelling, and they're in the shot. But it's what happened after that with our daughter about a half hour later. So I'm going to tell that story tonight. And Lisa Frith is involved too as well, one of our friends who out in Simi Valley took pictures and also got blue orbs. Now, very strange. And they're the same too, by the way. How can this happen in two locations? And how, well, I'll go over all of this tonight, and I want your feedback on Twitter to come back in and discuss this with me, because we're trying to figure this out too as well, what is going on here. And so get ready for that. And just pretty exciting week here on the show that we've had. And it's going to continue tomorrow. Tomorrow, we've got John Rappaport here with his No More Fake Newsroom live, and we're going to go to open lines. I want to discuss these orbs. I want to discuss the sighting that we had last night. I want to discuss the Humanity satellite, which I was exposed to today, that I did not know it existed. This is very interesting. So I've got more on the Humanity satellite that we're going to discuss when we go live, and what is going on up in our skies. I'm fascinated with this. I don't know what's going on. There's something happening, right? There's something happening. And between these secret access programs, the military-industrial complex, certainly the Pentagon and their stuff, and what has been disclosed lately, and Pentagon budgets, and the fact that I know that I can look up in the skies and see things that don't make any sense. It's very interesting. Very interesting. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight and tomorrow night on the program. Get ready for that. We're going to do a special live broadcast tonight out onto YouTube because we have Dr. Stephen Greer here. And there you go. Okay, we go live in 10 seconds. Enjoy the show.
Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church. on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, today's Wednesday, January 31st, 31 days into the new year, just 334 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet, I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Tonight, very special guest, Dr. Stephen Greer is here. He's back to talk about some witnesses, new witnesses that have come forward with the USAPs and SAPs in the military-industrial complex. We've got another name that has come into the picture tonight. We're going to do that too as well. It's an eye-opener. Tomorrow night, Fader Night, No More Fake Newsroom Live with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom, followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Very simple, at JChurchRadio. And Facebook, YouTube, everything is over on our website. You can click on those little buttons right there, and you can follow, like, and subscribe. Very simple. The sandbox where we hang out in Twitter is hashtag F2B, right? Hashtag F2B. That's the sandbox. We do a few thousand tweets a night, and you can come over and join in the conversation. All of the chat rooms are open. Certainly, you can go to Spreaker or KGRA, the Planet, and both of those chat rooms are open. If you have any questions or comments during the show tonight for myself or Dr. Greer, use hashtag F2BQ. Okay, very simple. You can email throughout the show, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Just make it good so it gets through, okay, and then it lands itself in here to me. If it's good, I'll read it on the air, okay? Now, really quick, I want to thank everybody for participating in the Numana program that they've got going on right now for all of you Fadernauts. And because of the success, I'm just going to say this. I mean, I can say right now, everybody in Twitter that ordered Numana this week, say in Twitter, I ordered Numana, right? Just go and do it. It's been crazy, and thank you. So, right before the show tonight, Numana decided to extend the special to February 15th. So 2 more weeks. They're going to go ahead and do that for everybody. And the special is this. Use the promo code Jimmy10. That's JIMMY 10, Jimmy10, and you're going to get 10% off of your order. You're going to get free shipping, and you're going to get an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. So you get everything that you need for peace of mind, emergency food storage. It's the best, it's the tastiest, it's all of that. And you're going to get that Fade to Black t-shirt autograph that you've always wanted for every order over $100. And the savings that you get, it's like, it's incredible. The free shipping on Numana, and you get the t-shirt, and you get 10% off of your order. It's a win-win-win-win-win, and so they've extended it for 2 more weeks to February 15th. It caught me by surprise because Numana doesn't do specials. They don't. They're doing this for Fade to Black and the Fadernauts, and the response has been tremendous. I mean, I can't tell you. Shipping those T-shirts is a really cool thing. I dig it. All right? So just go to the Numana banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Click on that. It'll take you over to our landing page, and all you have to do is use that promo code Jimmy10, and you're going to get 10% off, free shipping, and a autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Okay, let's get a few things out of the way. Dr. Stephen Greer is here tonight, and maybe I'll talk him into taking some phone calls too as well. That'll be really cool. Now, our next event is next week, the Conscious Life Expo, which is February 9th through the 12th, 2018, at the LAX Hilton, right here in Los Angeles, California. Head over to our website, click on the Conscious Life Expo banner, and everything is right there for you, tickets and the events. It's a full weekend. I'll be there emceeing and hosting all weekend. Going to host the Ancient Aliens panel on Friday night. And Saturday night, I'm going to host the party. That's going to be really cool. The Summer of Love party. That'll be Saturday night. And I'll be doing events all weekend long. And, of course, our sponsors are going to be there. Ronnie McMullen's going to be there with Life Change Tea. Juanita and Jeff from River Moon Coffee are going to be there. We're going to be sharing a booth with them on the mezzanine level right there at the entrance. So come by and say hi. And Chip Paul is going to be there from New Pharma. How cool is that? So come and hang out. It's a full Fade or Not weekend over at the Conscious Life Expo. Tomorrow night on Fade to Black, Serena Wright Taylor of the Conscious Life Expo is going to be here to talk about the special events that you can come and check out next weekend. And it's 1 week away, next Friday, February 9th through the 12th. Now, right after that, June 1st through the 4th, 2018, we'll be at Contact in the Desert in Indian Wells, Palm Springs at the Renaissance Resort and Spa. Again, tickets and info over at contactinthedesert.com. I think you have until midnight tonight for their early bird ticket pricing. So you can go and do that over at contactinthedesert.com. Check out the speakers list and everything that they've got going on. It's going to be great. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 795 archive shows right there. It's just $2 a month. $2 a month. We do it for free if we could. The company that we work with, that, I mean, it's just, we couldn't do it any cheaper. So it's $2 a month, and you get 795 archive shows updated every single day. Okay. Become a Fade or Not over in our membership section on the site. I did announce last night, we have 4 levels of membership. You can go from free all the way to the Game Changer, where you can get, if you want, you can get commercial-free downloadable archives. You get a personal email to me, get the bunker cam. You can get autographed hats and T-shirts and all of that stuff. And last night I did announce, and we have women's T-shirts now. And which we never did. I didn't think about it, but the request about women's T-shirts, well, now we have them. And I don't know if we've got them up on the website yet, but yes, we do. So if you get a Game Changer, subscription and you want a women's T-shirt, let me know. If you order Numana and you want a women's T-shirt instead of a men's, we have small, medium, and large. Just let me know, okay? They're really cool. They're Hanes. All of our T-shirts are hand silk screened. They're not made by a machine somewhere. They're not imported from China. They're made right here locally in Los Angeles. And as a matter of fact, our screen print shop is right down the street from the bunker. So I'm able to go in there and look and make sure that it's absolutely the highest quality. I'm just very picky about that. I don't want a machine to make these. I want real silk screen shirts. So you can do that over in our membership area. Okay, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Sex Pistol and punk rock icon Johnny Rotten Lydon is 62. Now, what do we do with that? What do we do with the king of punk? Johnny Rotten is 62, and he's still cool, and he's still got it. But are we getting up there in the years, right? 62 years old. Who would have thought? Justin Timberlake today is 37, and Minnie Driver, today is 48, and Minnie Driver will always make the birthday cut here on Fade to Black, and I'll tell you why. Gross point blank. That's it. There you go. Happy birthday. OTD. On this day in history, 1971, Apollo 14, piloted by Alan Shepard, Edgar Mitchell, and Stuart Roosa. Stuart Roosa? Yeah, there was a third guy. Is successfully launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, on a manned mission to the moon. Now, that was the golf clubs, man. That was hitting the golf balls. They spent 34 hours there. They got like 90 pounds of moon rocks. Come back to the Earth, hand out the moon rocks, and it turns out they weren't moon rocks that they were handing out. They were handing out petrified wood. I'm just saying that's what different countries around the world were saying when they went and got their moon rocks tested. It wasn't from the moon. It was not me. I didn't say this. You know, just go talk to the king of Denmark or whatever. I still can't believe that happened. Fader fact. Scientists discovered in 2015 that there were 8 times more trees on Earth than we previously thought. And that's a Fader fact. Okay? I did another Fader fact a couple of months ago about trees. That what do we have more of? Trees on planet Earth or stars in the Milky Way? You remember that? So what is it? Do we have more trees on planet Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way? Think about that. I'll watch Twitter. I'll watch Twitter light up. All right. Tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer is here. He's got some witnesses that have come forward. We're going to talk about that with how USAPs and SAPs operate in the military-industrial complex. And we've got another name of somebody that he has just spoken to, and we will talk about that tonight as well. Tomorrow night's another Fader night, the No More Fake Newsroom with John Rappaport, followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Now, we do a lot of night watching here, okay? So we have Bearing Optics, and we go out to different conferences, and we get everybody together. We go out with the night vision, and we're looking up in the sky and looking at these incredible objects. And right now, the last 2 days, we've had this blue moon, red moon, huge moon, solar eclipse thing going on. And the photographs and the imaging, the videos have been incredible, right? So we're going through that. And last night, right before the show, we were up top here and looking at the red moon, blue moon. And at that moment, I had a sighting. And the sighting was pretty incredible because it was straight up above me. The moon is right here in front of me, and I just happened to look up and I see this thing, and I thought it was a planet. Anyway, not to go through those details again, but it's lit up and then it goes out and then disappears. But it was pretty incredible. Now, what did I see? Right? What did I see? I got lots of email that it was this satellite or it was this satellite. It could have been this. Could have been the ISS. Everything that I looked at as far as satellite telemetry goes, it was the wrong timing. It doesn't mean that stuff is accurate. And if it was the iridium or one of the iridiums, again, it's the timing of it. It's possibility, sure, absolutely. Was it ours? Could be. Is it there? Could be. Is it just space debris lighting up in the atmosphere? Could be. It could be a lot of different things. But I did see it during the new moon. Then somebody sent me information on, and I don't have your name right in front of me, but thank you. And somebody's going to say in Twitter it was me, or shoot me an email saying it was me. But sent me information on, also, by the way, I got email, I think I read it in Twitter, and then I got another email, a couple of emails from our staff here. The Humanity Star. Okay, now, If you don't know what the Humanity Star is, I'm going to tell you now. And this is where things get really, really interesting. The Humanity Star is a satellite that was sent up. I'm going to get to the details in a second. To do nothing, just to orbit the Earth. It looks like a giant disco ball. It's made out of carbon fiber. It's hollow. It's reflective. And so it's there for us to see. It's visible with the naked eye. It's highly reflective. It blinks because it turns. And it was designed to be a shared experience for everyone on the planet. Created by Rocket Lab founder and CEO Peter Beck, the Humanity Star is a geodesic sphere made from carbon fiber with 65 highly reflective panels. It spins rapidly, reflecting the sun's rays back to Earth, creating a flashing light that can be seen against the backdrop of stars. It's orbiting the Earth every 90 minutes. It's visible from anywhere on planet Earth, and the Humanity Star is designed to be a bright symbol and reminder to all on Earth about our fragile place in the universe. Now, that's from the Humanity Star website. You can go to the Humanity Star website, and you can go there right now. It's easy to find. They have real-time tracking and telemetry right there. You can see where it is around the Earth at any point. And now, is this what people are seeing? I mean, not all the time, of course, but a lot of the time. And you can see it during the day. You can see it at night. It's low Earth orbit. And I have seen, and I reported on something that I saw similar to this about 8 years ago, 2010 and 2011. And when I saw what I saw, which I always had described as a spinning disco ball, I'd always described it as that. But what I saw, which I knew it was a satellite, or I knew it was an object up in Earth's orbit, I'll say that, because I saw it during the day. And it was in the clear blue sky, and it was coming across. There was a bunch of witnesses to it, and we all stood there and watched it. There's a video for this on YouTube that is there. You can go back and watch. But as it came across the sky in the blue, and it's moving, I could see that it was spinning, and I could see as it spun, the sun would reflect off of it, so you could see the rotation. It was timed. But then it stopped right above us, and stood there, and the spinning slowed down, and then it stopped, so the sun wasn't doing its timed reflection. And you could see it was silver, and then it went straight up into the blue and then disappeared and was gone. Very strange, right? So it was under control, and it positioned itself, and it did all of that. It reminded, as soon as I read about the Humanity satellite, it reminded me of what my sighting was. Now, this is what's crazy. It is going to crash back into Earth this March. And there's publicity behind this. So they've launched it up there for humanity to see, right? You can see with the naked eye. And then it's going to turn around and crash into the Earth for all of humanity to see, to remind us about our fragile place in the universe. Now, how trippy is that? All right, so when we get closer to this date, I'm wondering, and it doesn't look like there's any control on this. You have to see it. Yeah, thank you, Mark, for posting that. I'll retweet this right now. It doesn't look like there's any motors or any real control of the satellite here. But how can they control where it is going to crash, right? But you would think that, I mean, if I'm Rocket Lab founder Peter Beck, I'd want this, crashing over my hometown, right? Yeah, more space junk. That's all we need. This is going to burn up pretty quickly. It's hollow. It's not, it doesn't have a nuclear reactor on the inside of it or anything like that. But there you go. Okay, so is this what a lot of people are seeing? That's man-made up there. Nobody's really answering for anything. It's designed to be seen. It's designed to reflect. It's designed to put on a show, and it's up there. Think about that. It's just like total deception. So anyway, so combined with all of that, this disco ball idea, right? This also happened last night. And I need your help, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. But I need your help. And it's this. Last night, Rita, after the show, photographed the red moon. And she took a couple of shots, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. Okay, boom. And she takes a few more shots, and I look, and there's a blue, green, turquoise, perfectly round orb in her moon shots, right? And 4 shots in a row, just directly straight up, boom, there's the moon. And this green orb is in different positions around the moon. And this is where it gets whack. I'm looking for the green orb. I'm like, okay, is it a bug? Is it a bird? This is 10:30 at night. And I don't see anything. And I'm going back and I'm looking at the pictures and I'm blowing it up and I'm looking, and it is the perfect blue, turquoise, perfectly round, solid object. Doesn't look like an orb or something that, is reflecting a bug or, it's distorted and it's no, it is just a perfectly round, solid blue orb, turquoise. I'm tripping. I'm looking at these pictures and I can't resolve it. And I'm trying to see what this could possibly be. And, okay. So we go in the house and we're talking about it a little bit. And I'm trying to figure out what this could possibly be. And our daughter comes home from college and she comes in and it says good evening, and we tell her, hey, have you seen the red moon? And she goes, no, it's going on right now. Go outside. So she goes outside to check it out, and while she's out there, she decides to take pictures. But we don't know this. And she comes running in and says this: I was being chased by a blue orb. Just like, I'm stunned. It's like an ice pick to the forehead. What did you just say? She goes, yeah, and I took pictures. Hands us her iPhone, and I look, and it's the same turquoise orb that we had photographed a half hour before around the moon. Her pictures are around the moon, a couple in front of our house. This orb is in front of the house, and a couple where it looks like it's moving. And now, you have to understand, our daughter, Deanna, doesn't do what we do. She's not part of our community. She's getting there, but she doesn't know what an orb is. She's never talked to me about an orb or seeing orbs or ask me what they are. No. And for her to come running in, and she told, she said she was looking at it and photographing, looking at photo. Holy crap, right? And now I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm looking at this, and now I'm thinking, okay, we've got a green orb guest, at our house. And I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know what's going on. This morning, Lisa Frith, Lisa, you're probably listening, friend of ours here in the Valley, and she lives out in Simi. She posts some pictures of the red moon taken last night with a blue orb in the picture, taken 40 miles away. Now, so this morning, and I'm just like, I've got this green orb thing I'm trying to resolve and fix, and I can't figure it out. I've got 2 different iPhones, 2 different time periods, 2 different things going on. The orbs are in both pictures, from the front of the house, from the back of the house. What is going on? And then Lisa posts her pictures today, and there she's got the same green orb. Now, what is going on. So tomorrow night, this is what I would like all of you to do. If you took pictures of the red moon last night or tonight, whatever, and there's a blue orb in the picture that you probably dismissed, lens flare, or whatever, post it, send it to us, email me, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I want to see the pictures. Also, I want to know what kind of camera, cell phone that you took this on. Okay? Is this some anomaly to iPhone 7 Pluses, which is what we have? Is it that? Is it something else? Does it have to do with the red moon and reflecting back into the lens? Is it, or are there green orbs floating around here? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It looks like, okay, look, this is what is strange. If it is something to do with the lens and something is getting burned into it, from the red moon, and, something is there, and then you're moving the camera around, and now you're photographing a green orb, but you can't see it, and you can't see it in the camera, I don't know. Is it that? I don't know. So let's look at everybody's images, and we'll post ours. You take a look at those, and we'll see if we can figure this out. It's very interesting. It happened on 3 different cameras last night, 3 different cell phones, miles apart. The fact that they were in front and back of our house a half hour apart, that's strange, and now it's localized, and it's here, and we've got some kind of crazy visitor, and we'll figure that out on our own. But to have Lisa photograph it over in Simi, and there it was, now we've got something else going on. So is it just the cell phone cameras, or is there's something else? Are we photographing something that has to do with the red moon? Is there something? I don't know. So let's have some fun with this. Let's try to figure it out. And we'll do all of this tomorrow night on the show. Okay, so now the days of disclosure. That's what we've been going through since December 16th. Stephen Greer has been involved with this going back to all 2001 and before. We're going to talk about all of that tonight with Dr. Greer. He's got 2 witnesses that have come forward for these special access programs and how they operate. We've got somebody else that he's going to talk about tonight that he's just spoken to. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, Any questions or comments, just post them, #F2BQ. You can certainly email me, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. All right, the sandbox is #F2B. Tomorrow night, right here on Fade to Black, it will be John Rappaport and our No More Fake Newsroom, followed by Open Lines. All right, I'll be right back with Dr. Stephen Greer. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA. The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Matthew. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Join in on the conversation. We're going to go through about 3,000, 4,000 tweets tonight. Oh, yeah, you can follow Dr. Stephen Greer at Dr. Stephen Greer. It's right there. The links are up for his Twitter in TweetDeck right now. Dr. Greer is the founder of the Disclosure Project, the Center for Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, CSETI, the Orion Project, and Sirius Technology Advanced Research, LLC. His National Press Club disclosure event in May 2001 and the webcast had 250,000 people waiting online, the largest webcast in the history of the National Press Club at that time. He has worked for the last 20 years bringing together scientists and inventors and leaders in society to advance new clean technology energy systems. He's also the author of 4 books and multiple DVDs on the UFO ET subject, including the documentary Sirius, which I've watched so many times. He's appeared on CBS, BBC, the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, the Ancient Alien series, and of course the movie Thrive. His latest film, which was unacknowledged, an expose of the greatest secret in human history, premiered here in Los Angeles last April 24th, 2017. I was at that premiere with Dr. Greer, and it's one of the most watched documentaries all of last year. Tonight, we're going to discuss these days of disclosure, and he's got some new witnesses that have come forward to confirm these puzzle pieces about how USAPs and SAPs run, and also a recent conversation that he has had with somebody that I'm going to let him speak about right now. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Dr. Stephen Greer. Stephen, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
How are you really right now?
Well, I'm doing okay. And one thing I wanted to do is thank you and all those supporters that are out there. It turns out that the documentary Unacknowledged, it was the #1 documentary for all of 2017 on iTunes and also Netflix. So this is a pretty astonishing achievement for a crowd-funded, publicly supported documentary of this type. And for those of you who may not know, there's a book by the same name, Unacknowledged, that has about 5 times more information in it than for those who actually read still beyond a Twitter feed, you're going to find a great deal more evidence and information in the book than even in the documentary. But I'd like to thank everyone who supported that and your support. And it was great seeing you at the premiere 9 months ago.
Yeah, well, you know what was crazy about that? I just have to say this. The theater downtown in Los Angeles, for everybody, probably sat, I'm going to guess, Stephen, with a number 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
That, yeah.
It's a massive, massive theater with a massive screen. But for me to be there and see that a sold out movie theater of that size for this, it's a documentary on a subject that, but it was sold out. It was packed. It was an amazing event and a pretty crazy day to see that kind of support roll out.
Yeah, and we're finding that all over the world, interestingly, even though the mainstream media has kind of blacklisted a lot of this, the public, we have learned from one of our research teams that does a lot of analytics that 100,000 people a day are seeing the documentary Unacknowledged globally. So that is how it happens. It happens virally and it happens word of mouth. And we didn't have a big film advertising budget and all that stuff like you have in Hollywood events, but it's really due to you and the other people out there listening who supported it that this has reached the millions of people it's reached.
I'll tell you something fascinating. A couple of months ago, last month, I was out to dinner with, I'm not going to, name drop or anything, but I'm out to dinner with a rock star, heavy metal lead singer, right? And the head of a major label that their band is on, and we're at this dinner for 4 hours, and these two wanted to do nothing but talk about the secret space program. They wanted to talk about alien contact. They wanted to talk about all of these specific events that really you and I and our community talk about. But to have it reach out that far, beyond our community, and that they know these subjects, right? It was fascinating to me that this reach now is expanding like it is.
Well, it is, and not only that, in terms of that crowd, but people in the national security system and politicians and heads of state I hear from people like this all the time, and in fact, one of the reasons I wanted to share with you some information tonight is about that. I mean, most people know that the current director of the CIA is Pompeo, and I have a member of my team who is a very highly placed person in the political and intelligence community, and there were 2 people who he works with at a meeting this past fall, not just a few months ago, with the DCI, the Director of Central Intelligence, Pompeo. And the reason I'm coming on, I do not come on radio shows just for the heck of it. There's some really important intelligence the public needs to know. And this is the first one. And at that meeting, this issue came up about Unacknowledged and disclosure. And it was interesting because it was being discussed, and a senior CIA official there, who was a woman, stopped everyone and said, "Oh yes, the American people like to whine a lot, and pretty soon we're going to give them something to really whine about." And the whole room fell silent, and the CIA director just sort of coughed quickly and said, "Okay, let's move on off of that." So now, of course, fast forward to last month, where there was all this coverage about the UFO tracking of off the coast of California, and then hidden in that storyline was the threat from outer space and the threat office at the Pentagon, all of it couching it as an existential threat. Then you have to then connect a couple other dots, and the public needs to know what these dots are. I had a man who, and just for those who are new to this subject, or the concept of an unacknowledged special access project, which is how we got the name of the film and the book. I didn't know that such a thing existed until back in the 90s, and a man who had been in those projects described to me that is what they're called, and how they operate. And just so that people understand, these are operations that are beyond just top secret special compartmented information, TSFDI, or a SAP, a special access project. These are the unacknowledged ones, and these are the deep black projects. And a man has surfaced very recently who was in these projects. I don't want to get too much information at this point about who he is, but he's known to me and incredibly highly placed.
Will
and
you?
From 2000.
Well, let me jump in really quick. Will you bring him forward and not only allow us to know who he is, but look into his CV and vet his background?
It's up to him. People have to understand there are 100 and some of these military and intel people we have on videotape who are identified. There are about another 800 like this who are very legitimate that we've checked out that do not want to be identified for their own security and other reasons. And this man right now is in that category. It's not my call to make. One thing as a physician, people feel comfortable coming to me and they can share this sort of information and know that I'm not going to betray their confidence.
Right.
So, so that's just an ethical, basic function that I have to fulfill.
Okay.
But so the answer is, I would hope so at some point. But this man made it clear he had signed. This is fairly recent. He left that command in 2012. Had signed many pages of secrecy documents that were to endure for 70 years, which is past, of course, his natural lifetime. But what's important is the information he shared. And I think that, and this is not the only one of this type that we've heard from, and in fact, we have some that are on the record about this. But the way that these unacknowledged special access projects operate, this particular program he was dealing with and was read into or briefed was in the sub-basement of the Pentagon in the Technology Management Office, the TMO, and some people, listeners out there may know of this. And in this office, he was investigating criminally some actions by a 3-star general, and it involved a breach of security at a USAP out in the Midwest, and the bringing into a USAP facility where an ET craft had been downed by an electromagnetic weapon, and they were studying how some of its so-called cloaking, materialization, dematerialization functions, and an unauthorized person who is a girlfriend of this general was brought in, and this was being investigated. It's a very long story. It's a 3-year investigation. We have all the details on it, who the general was, et cetera, and so on. What's interesting about it, and this is the big teaching point here, let's call it learning point, is that it eventually got referred to the Department of Justice, but the Department of Justice was unable to pursue the case because they were never given access or even given information of the existence of the unacknowledged special access project. This is how these USAPs operate beyond the reach of the law, even when there's been criminal conduct up to and including murder. And I think that this is something that, when he realized that, that's when he realized that this is incredibly dangerous because there is no check and balance for it. And without a check and balance, power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
You can get into some very dangerous territory, which is what we've been in for 60 years. And I think that this is an example. Now, he also shared with me the fact that one of the euphemisms used in the high-tech world is radar systems. And when you hear this, you ask, is it a radar, or is it an embedded within what looks like a radar system, an electromagnetic field system that is an offensive weapon? And this gentleman had actually been in the early days of the Iraq War with Saddam Hussein, and such a system was being used that had a microwave kind of pulsed system that would completely disable any airborne aircraft and have it crash. And a number of them did so with this system. He personally was part of that. Moreover, more advanced systems have been placed on satellites in space. They're not with manned aircraft or on celestial bodies, but that are on satellites that have been used to target and destroy objects in space. And this is also a very dangerous game being played. What I'm trying to say here and connecting a few dots is that there's an unsupervised element that are doing things that are an existential threat to the future of Earth and humanity. And the reason that I left my medical career is to get to the bottom of this and get people aware of it. And I think that when you look at the weight of the evidence on this and how dangerous it is, that with the comments that were made with the CIA director in the fall, and then this new information, what the people have to be aware of is the very real risk of a false flag operation or a hoax event that will look ET, but it's not. And of course, this is what Werner von Braun had warned to Carol Rosin and other people had said, and in the documentary and in the book Unacknowledged, there are people who state that that is exactly what's being used, and that the technologies, one of the points that this top secret guy who was actually had clearance across a number of these USAPs, called baseline clearance, said is that if people realize what the technologies are that are covert human technologies, they could not believe it. And I have heard this for 20-some years from people who've worked in those systems at Lockheed, Skunk Works, and some of these facilities that are mostly underground at Nellis Air Force Base and Edwards and elsewhere. But I think that the key thing here is that it's being fast-tracked. And the events of last month, where you had the CNN and New York Times and Washington Post all covering this one case, however, embedded within the storyline was, the guy from the Threat Assessment Office who came forward, some of the other figures involved that have put out very frightening portrayals of alien existence. That this is the reason it was covered in these mainstream media is that the mainstream media is not allowed to cover this subject unless they're taskmasters, and the intelligence community say do it, and they have been unleashed to cover it. So I think that in a way, a lot of people say, "Hooray! This is all in the media," but in a way, I can tell you that this is an ominous development, and people need to be eternally vigilant to the kinds of manipulations that occur. Now, you have to add to that at one point, it's in the testimony that we have from Carol Rosin, not only that Werner von Braun had told her that they would hoax an alien threat at some point, but it would be the last thing they would do after they had run through a number of war algorithms. And when she was at Fairchild Industries, she saw a document. There was a meeting where they listed, this was in the 70s, all these different wars that would be manipulated and created by the deeper aspects of the intelligence community and what have you. And basically, we're at the very end of that algorithm. I think the last one that she saw on it was Yemen, which at the time everyone laughed. They said, "Where is that? We have to get a map out." They didn't know, Iraq was on there, Kuwait was on there, all these things. And I've just learned that there's a 4-star general who's now retired who saw the same list. And it so made him become so unglued that he's now become quite dedicated to trying to create peace. But he was a 4-star, and he was astonished that there was this level of cynical manipulation to keep the war profiteers and machine running. And so I think that the trump card, no pun intended, the final point as the stop on this by these lunatics is to play the alien threat card, and it seems to be that is picking up speed, and people need to be aware of what the plan is and how it's been developed over the last 60 years.
Now, we'll talk about this more after the break. We've got a break coming up. I want to jump back to your words existential threat. Is that what when you say that, what are you referring to?
Well, at the core of this group, you have a bunch of lunatics who, like Carol calls them Armageddonites. They really want to see our civilization shut down and kind of restarted. And these are people who are fanatics and very dangerous, and live in this bubble that they've created in the unacknowledged Special Access Project world. And unfortunately, if you look at our documentary, you'll see that Constitutional Attorney Daniel Sheehan, as well as the Air Force Office of Special Investigations officer, both came clean with the fact that the big mainstream media, national security editors and whatnot, are on the payroll of the intelligence community to cover what they are told to cover. And so you have to realize that when something begins to get covered in a certain way with a certain spin in it, it's a big red flag. Now, I was aware of this a couple of years ago before we started filming Unacknowledged, and that's why we made that film. I was given a very big heads up on it back a couple of years ago in late 15 and 2016. And of course, Unacknowledged came out in the spring of 2017. However, I think that, this is a long-term plan. I mean, you have to remember, and you may recall this story when we were doing briefings for Congress in the late 1990s, a man who was on an interagency group dealing with this told us that in 1974, when he was involved, that they could push a button and there would be a global crisis that would look like an alien invasion, and it was 100% man-made, that the technologies and the systems are that advanced. And that was 44 years ago. So this is not the first person I've heard say this. Werner von Braun was not the first person. There are many people in the deep national security system who have come across this that are very alarmed, including this retired four-star general. And I think that the public needs to be aware of how easy it is for something like 9/11 to happen, and then it's an excuse to concoct false evidence to go into Iraq, etc. So I think that all along we have been deceived, and these things can be easily manipulated by people with the intention to do so. And I know this sounds rather cynical, but you need to question everything that begins to come out through some kind of a cutout group or whatever it is that begins to get widespread coverage in the mainstream media.
And what is the advantage of that in the fake alien invasion? And we've heard references about this for a very long time now. But what is the advantage of it? Ronald Reagan had his take, right?
Right.
What would be the advantages?
Well, there are several. Number one, you could then grow the military, industrial, intelligence, financial empire exponentially by the entire world contributing to an alleged battle that's interplanetary. Number two, you can control the masses through fear. And you can see what happened after 9/11. We had the Patriot Act. We had all kinds of people took total leave of their senses and liberties in the panic of that event. So you can then, in that chaos and fear, consolidate further your power. And I think the other part of it is that they really need to have the public focus not on, universal peace, which is what I'm advocating, and development of a civilization that is coexisting and going amongst the stars peacefully, but to put everyone on a war footing where they can then be manipulated emotionally and spiritually and mentally manipulated. And, it goes all the way back to the 1953 document from the CIA that got declassified, where it talks about the great psychological warfare value, I'm quoting here, of the UFO subject. during Walter Bedell Smith's tenure as the director of the CIA. So I think that, this is a sort of a fascistic or fascist type of approach. And, interestingly, one of the people on my team whose father for many years was a senior U.S. senator in this cabal said that basically he came to realize his entire family really were fascists, and that there is, sort of a ethical world that they inhabit where they're contemptuous of the people and of freedom and of genuine progress, and want to keep everyone sort of controlled in these feudal fiefdoms of conflict. And that is something that everyone on Earth needs to step back from and look at and say, what kind of world do we want to have going forward that we're leaving to our children and, in my case, grandchildren. So I think that's really the big task in front of the human race right now.
Well, let's take a break right here, and when we come back, let's analyze everything that Dr. Greer just presented to us, and of course, we're going to take all of this one step further. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Dr. Greer at Dr. Stephen Greer. On Twitter, we have all the links up. It's Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go back, Lee Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Our guest tonight, Dr. Stephen Greer. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Dr. Greer at Dr. Stephen Greer on Twitter. Now, Dr. Greer, you had mentioned Mike Pompeo, the director of the CIA, at the beginning of the show. And I want to understand what you had said there, and I want to expand on this, that there was a meeting prior to December 16th, 2017, with the mass media that he was present at. And are you suggesting that what happened on December 16th was planned in advance by Pompeo and his staff?
No, not directly by Pompeo, but what I'm saying is that it's the beginning of a process of release that has embedded within it the alien threat hoax. And I think that, the senior official at the meeting, when they were talking about disclosure and the ET issue, and actually unacknowledged came up, where this woman said, oh, yes, well, the American public like to whine, and pretty soon we're really going to give them something to whine about. And the people who were in that meeting, two people who were in it that are connected to my team, were really horrified, and there was a hushed silence in the room. There is, I'm just saying, there is something afoot. These things are connected, and I don't think it's as linear, and it's more nuanced than what you're suggesting. However, it's quite clear that there are people who have unleashed some of the media that have usually blacklisted this subject and have begun to cover it, and that the team that is around that have their marching orders from a deeper level of the intelligence community. And so I think that we have to be, very careful. People take things on a very superficial level of, oh, this came out and it was a video from a fighter jet chasing a UFO off the coast of California or something like that, which in and of itself is rather anodyne and ordinary, really. I mean, we have dozens of cases like that, and actually better ones. But I think that there's a subtext to it that has to be understood, and that, the plan that I'm referring to is a very long-term plan that has been in motion. Douglas MacArthur, General Douglas MacArthur, said back in the 50s that, World War III would be interplanetary. So this is the kind of, in the movie Independence Day was sort of right out of central casting from the agency script on this, where the world gets united to, as Will Smith said, kick alien butt. And this kind of sort of jingoism and pseudo patriotism is what they're counting on the public buying into. So I think this is not at all to cast aspersions on people who actually are patriotic and actually are, but this is not. This is about subserving the interests of a corrupt cabal of sociopaths. And I think that we need to call that out, be watchful of it. Now, to what extent Pompeo is part of the deeper system, or simply it was being discussed in his presence, I do not know. I mean, some CIA directors have been very involved earlier in their careers with intelligence operations dealing with this. Others had no information at all during their tenure and during most of their time. And I think that it really depends on who that individual is, and more than what the position is. And the same is true of the president. I mean, everyone knows the story of Jimmy Carter being denied access by George H.W. Bush, the senior Bush, who was at the time the CIA director. And when President Carter asked to be read into the UFO issue, Bush said, "I won't tell you anything about it." And of course, subsequently, Carter tried to push on this, going so far as beginning to commission a study at SRI, Stanford Research International, which ended up getting the carpet pulled out from under it by operatives in the Pentagon who threatened SRI with withdrawal of other funding if they did what President Carter wanted them to do. And then subsequently, I know this from a source who was present at the time, way back, that two people came into the White House and told President Carter that if he didn't be quiet about this issue, that he would not complete his first term as president. So, that sort of thing isn't unusual. In fact, there, one of the people on my team who's the son of the senior Republican senator who's been on the committee dealing with secrecy on this issue, back in the Clinton years, went with his father to receive an award at the Oval Office with Clinton, and this issue came up. And Clinton just said, "Well, yeah, I know this is going on, but they won't tell me a thing." And so now those were in the earlier days of Clinton's tenure. After he left office, he got read into these operations, I understand, and certainly Hillary was aware of them. But interestingly, you also notice that they've come up with a new obfuscating kind of cover-up acronym. It's no longer UFOs, it's UAPs, unexplained aerial phenomena. And I find this very hilarious because they're not unexplained, they're not strictly aerial, and it's not a phenomenon the way you'd have like ball lightning or something.
Right.
But that's the new acronym that's being bandied about by this circle, and it's a deliberately obfuscating one. Remember, the term UFO wasn't in use until after they knew that they were extraterrestrial and interdimensional, and that they themselves had ones that were man-made by the 1950s that were so-called flying saucers, some of them man-made, that were anti-gravity propulsion devices. So the way that this works is sort of a mind, I hate to use the word, but mind F. Right. And that basically, they then will hide things in this sort of lingo that deliberately pretends like it's some great mystery. Well, it isn't. And they're doing that on purpose until such time that they acculturate enough people to pull the trigger on it. But I think that this is where you get into the question of an awake and aware citizenry, like Eisenhower talked about, preventing this sort of thing from happening. And I think that the only way it could be accomplished is, in my opinion, if we continue to be sheeple and have blinders on about what these agendas are and how easily the public is manipulated.
Well, one of the things that we have been very aware of, and certainly this all too well, is the UFO community being infiltrated and being pushed and pulled and infighting, benevolent, malevolent ETs, fake alien invasion, I'm right, and I'm getting information, and this has been going on for a long time. And for the UFO community, we're our heads are on a swivel now. We don't know who to trust anymore.
Well, there's no replacement for discernment. All I say is that you need to go with the sources. You can't rely just on the ephemera, let's call it, the passing accounts of this and that. You need a deeper intelligence analysis and from credible people to do it. That's what we've tried to put together in the book and movie. And, I've spent 28 years meeting with people at the level of this sort of intelligence operation to learn what I've learned. And I think that, people can believe it, not believe it. I don't really care. I'm not running for political office and then the governor of Crazy Town. What I'm concerned about is the human future. And I'm concerned about the degree to which the public can be easily manipulated and take leave of their senses. And this has been going on for way too long. I mean, a lot of your listeners may remember this old rock group called The Who, and the song "We Won't Be Fooled Again," kind of reference to the nonsense of the Vietnam era. But we have been fooled again, and we continue to be fooled. And I think that this is where we have to begin to awaken as a people, speak truth to power, and divert all those energies that are negative into something that's constructive, such as peaceful contact with these civilizations that are from other planetary systems, bringing out the technologies for peaceful use that would get us off of oil and gas and nuclear power, and salvage what's left of our environment, et cetera, and so on. There are very constructive things we need to do, but those never get done so long as people are diverted into a war fever or into paranoia, fear. And I'm not trying to scare anyone by coming on this show tonight. I'm trying to give people a heads up so that they don't succumb to the false narrative and they go forward doing things that are constructive, that can move our civilization and this planet onto a sustainable path. And that is absolutely doable. And I think it's not too late at all to do it. I'm not a fatalist at all about this. But I'm just saying that as we move forward with disclosure, the deep intelligence operations move forward with their agenda, and it's something that is a dynamic process that is unfolding right before our very eyes. And from where I sit, the pace is quickening, and so I just share that with your listeners, and they can take it for what it's worth.
Well, you and I have a relationship, and you know that I'll always be direct, and we have a level of trust between us. So let me ask you this quite directly, which is something that everybody thinks about when they think about you or the other leaders in our community, which is this: how do you use discernment and vet your sources so you can trust that you aren't being deceived? And do you ever question that very fact? Do you think that's
all the time?
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Well, it's something you can't do starting out the gate. But I began having meetings with people at this level in 1992, and no doubt at one point, it was a little easier to deceive. Now, I have a little bit of an advantage being an emergency doctor, because in the ER you have someone trying to pull a scam on you to get narcotics or work excuses or fake insurance claims pretty much every hour in a very busy emergency department. So you learn to have a very good BS meter. Now, the way that on top of that, is to have multiple different corroborating sources, so that if there's an area, let's say, when I first heard about this thing that they were planning to hoax all this stuff, I thought that was science fiction. I really didn't believe it. But then independent people who don't know each other, highly credible, very well connected in these projects, began to relate to me the same data and points of corroboration. So this is how you begin to build a mosaic. Now, you can't just take every apocryphal story that comes to you at face value. But like in the case of this man that's recently surfaced, who has been in these USAPs at an incredibly deep level, he has sent to me the proof of his bona fides, and we have spoken. And there is no question about the legitimacy of what he saw and how the things were operated on, what the technologies are, and how they've been deployed, and how they're being used. And most of what he had to share, I've heard from other independent corroborating sources who don't know him and who he doesn't know. And so, it's a very rigorous but diligent process. Now, with that said, certainly if it's something brand new I've never heard of before, I went to Venus and danced a kazatska with a Venusian or something that doesn't hold up to inspection.
Right.
But these are things, and one can, just because you're open-minded doesn't mean your brains have to fall out onto the floor. So you have to have some level of discernment. And, I'm human, I'm fallible, and, no doubt that, it's certainly possible that I could be deceived. But there are too many people. The things that I share are things that have strong corroboration from extraordinarily well-placed, reliable people. And, again, the tip of that iceberg is what we've been able to bring forward in the Disclosure Project and in the books and what have you. But there is much more than that is behind why I would say let's let that person who's willing to be identified speak, because there are 10 people who have similar accounts that I've interviewed who will not go on the record for fear of their pensions or their life or their family or what have you. So I think that that's kind of how I have tried to proceed as well as one can, with, minimal funding and, a volunteer support network, which is how we operate. But I think that's sort of my answer to that. And I think that if it begins to seem too far out there that has no corroborating points, you have to question what is it about. And I'll give you a good example. People have heard of MK Ultra. I'm sure you've heard of it. And those who haven't, it was a mind control project in the 50s and 60s. Some of it used LSD. What people don't know about is that those programs at the agency and elsewhere, the real action was never uncovered by the church hearings in Congress, Senator Church and all, which happened in the 70s. Those were the ones that deal with electromagnetic systems that alter experiences and alter what have you. There are a number of people out there who were MK Ultra babies or children who were pulled into that project, who were given experiences that were completely scripted and are not actual events that happened. It's very easily done. One of the men who worked on this in the 50s said to me before he died, he was in his 80s, and he said, look, if we want you to have a private conversation with your personal God, Buddha, Christ, whoever it is, you'll have it, you'll pass a lie detector test that you had it, and you will believe it's real. But that's how good these technologies are. So one of the things that Werner von Braun had said to Carol Rosin before he died is the only thing that scared him more than this hoaxed alien threat business was the abuse of these kinds of very advanced consciousness interface electronics that have been used in devious ways. And I think that you get into the weeds and in the deep end of the pond, but hey, we're on Fade to Black, right?
Right.
So you get into some sciences which, are colorfully called at the CIA WSFM, which stands for Weird Science and Frickin' Magic. And it sounds like something out of a science fiction book, except they are not. And there are people who have these technologies and sciences who have the intent to use them for deceptive purposes.
Now, I don't do politics on this show, but I've got to touch upon it from time to time. With what do you think? Is Trump the POTUS? Is he our disclosure guy?
Oh, well, that I don't know. I was asked to put a big briefing together for him, and after he was nominated in 2016, and he received it personally, one of his delegates at the Republican National Committee, who's on my team, handed it to him. Now, to what extent he's perused it and acted on it, I do not know. I have no knowledge as to whether or not he has been officially read into the matter or has been denied access the way Clinton and Carter were. W was really not interested in this. Cheney was a member of the committee, the MHAIC, the Majority Intelligence Committee that deals with the ET issue. But so it just really depends, and I don't have any current knowledge as to whether or not he's inclined to take action, or if he's going to be manipulated the way President Reagan was about there being a threat, where Reagan got up in front of the UN, it's in the book and in the movie Unacknowledged, where he says, wouldn't our job of creating world unity be easier if we had a common alien threat, basically to unite against and fight? So, the problem with the presidency is that it's the ultimate fishbowl, but it's the ultimate bubble. And the question is, those around him, are they bad actors or good actors who have knowledge of this, and what will they tell him and drive him in what direction? And of course, being new, he's a real estate developer, being new to the national security apparatus and the military and intelligence community, this would way be out of his wheelhouse and the levels of manipulation. He certainly needs a Sherpa, a guide through the wilderness of this, and I'm not saying that I'm that person at all, although the briefing would be a great guide if he relies on it. But I don't pretend to know, beyond that what the current president will or will not do, and to what extent he may be vulnerable to disinformation and manipulation by those who would like to move him in one direction or another. And so that's kind of the only thing I can answer to that. I'm being as forthright as I can be.
Well, we also have, Dr. Greer, this crazy Putin, Russia, China, North Korea political worldwide thing too, as well. And this has to be part of the conversation, doesn't it?
Well, it is, and I think one of the things we're working on is to at least transcend those normal fracture lines to get world leaders to agree to only go into space peacefully, to keep weapon systems out of outer space, and to begin an initiative to disclose this information that can lead to a good outcome. And I know that, there are people in the Kremlin and various generals and leaders who follow what we're doing very, very carefully. I've been asked to put together information for them quite recently. I've been asked to go to the Kremlin this year to pursue that. But as to whether or not the normal, one of the things people have to understand, the group that is running covert programs on this is not international, it's transnational. And let me define that for people. Transnational goes beneath and beyond the geopolitical lines of, say, Russia and U.S. and Canada or what have you. And for decades, this issue has been managed by a transnational entity, not just a U.S. or U.K. or Russian. And so, it also transcends any of the normal political systems. And for that reason, it's beyond the reach of the law, but it's also something that can either deceive or guide or pull people in one direction or another by having people embedded in various places in the government. And I know it sounds like something out of the Blacklist or what have you, but I mean that some of these shows that are fictional are really actually based on information we put out there that is the way the world operates. And I think that for that reason, yes, on one superficial level, there are all these divide lines of geopolitical conflict. On a deeper level, the group that is running this issue runs itself as a transnational entity that transcends the normal geopolitical agendas and fracture lines. Now, I think for that reason, leaders around the world need to be able to learn and be educated on this and then come together and move in a united way to advance disclosure, the release of safe technologies for clean energy, and to create a rapprochement or a contact initiative with these civilizations that are from other star systems, and move things out of the shadows and of the danger zone that it's been in for a number of decades.
Right.
And that's something we certainly advocate. I've had meetings with ministers of defense of other countries and leaders from other countries to advocate that. The big problem, the thing that's lacking, is the courage to do so, because to touch this issue is to have the entire mainstream media assault you as the tinfoil lunatic fringe leader. And they all know that. That is a pre-positioned weapon of ridicule that keeps everyone on a short leash. And I can't tell you how many people I've met with in politics and science and in government and universities who know this is true, but do not want to be identified with it because of the ridicule and the social opprobrium that goes with it, opprobrium being condemnation and what have you. So I think that this is a huge problem because when the agency and these other folks set out to ridicule the issue in the 50s and 60s and be sure that only the National Enquirer and tabloid rubbish kind of media outlets covered it, they were very, very successful, so much so now that many of them regret it, because they painted themselves into a corner where this subject is such a toxic, conspiracy theory-laden field that respectable, let's call them, mainstream people don't want to be identified with it. So we're in a real catch-22. It's one of the reasons why we're trying to put out credible briefing material, evidence. The book, Unacknowledged, has a lot of it. The other material that we have at our website, SeriousDisclosure.com, has a plethora of witness testimony and government documents and other material that most people never peruse, but that we're trying to sort of do a tutorial or an introduction to the subject, so it gives people sort of a strong foundation in the facts and evidence of the situation. Then from there, do the deeper analysis, and from there be able to take action. So, it's a multi-phased process, educational process, that anyone would have to go through, whether it's a man on the street or a leader of a major country.
Okay, we have a choice here. Either I can break for commercial and have you hang on for another segment. We've got way too much to talk about. I want the audience to know, I know that Stephen is not in the best comfort right now. I'm not going to say anything, Stephen, but if you can hang on for one more segment, that would be great, or I'll blow through the network right now and I'll keep you on. You want to hang on?
Well, let's go on. Yeah, let's go on for a little bit longer. Yeah,
okay,
we can.
All right. Okay, then I'm not going to break. I'm letting the network know now we're not going to break for a commercial. Let's just keep this rolling. And let me ask you this.
And by the way, I'm not ashamed of the fact to say, I am in a great deal of discomfort because I was mountain hiking and it's up at this big waterfall, and I had a new dog that we had rescued, and it got under my feet, and I fell, and I tore my right shoulder out so badly. I had 5 huge screws in my shoulder. I just had shoulder surgery a couple weeks ago, so the pain is exquisite, and I'm not on any medication except ibuprofen if you put on it, so I'm not stoned or anything on medication, but it is very painful. But I mean, I'm just one of these people.
Yeah, and I feel bad because it's late out there on the East Coast. Okay, so let's do this.
Oh no, I'm always up late. Don't worry about that.
Okay, so let's just keep this going. There is going to be another wave of mass media releases coming out. Okay, there's going to, what happened on December 16th was that. There's going to be another wave coming here soon. And it is going to do the same thing. It's going to reach out into the mass media. There's going to be additional video and witness. This is going to be the next wave. Are you prepared for that? And what do you think we can expect, and how the media is going to turn around and respond once again to this?
Well, I think that we have to be, as I said, watchful of first there's the evidence, and then there's they call it the meta message, or the deeper message that's attached to it. What is the spin? What is the other message? Is it couched in a way that presents it as here's a case and here's the evidence, or is it also something that has coattails, let's call it, where they then take that sort of sweet nugget of a factual event and then wrap a whole bunch of disinformation around it so it seems palatable? That's how the intelligence community works. And I think that that's what we have to watch for. And that's why, frankly, I came on your show to discuss. And I don't think, this is not to be at all cynical, but only to say that we can't be childish about this. We have to have our eyes wide open and know that the big mainstream media does not cover this issue in a way that is ever honest, and they're not allowed to. And as one of the board members of Time Life said to me before it was Time Warner and all that, he was on the board of it, and Bob Schwartz said to me at a meeting in New York back in the 90s, he says, Dr. Greer, basically we have become scribes taking dictation from the right hand of the king, and that the Fourth Estate is dead and has been dead for decades. And he related to me, getting at some top secret documents that came to him related to this issue that he tried to get Mike Wallace at 60 Minutes to do, and Mike Wallace wanted to do it, but CBS corporate, and at that time it was owned by Westinghouse, a big defense contractor, nuclear power generator contractor, shut down the initiative for 60 Minutes to cover it. So if 60 Minutes has sort of a clueless billionaire on from Las Vegas, that is because they've been told to have that guy on. And people have to read between the lines and not be too dense about this. People say, "Oh, you're quite skeptical and cynical." I said, "No, I'm being realistic because it's not my first rodeo. I've seen how this operates."
It happened pretty freely in that we've all, you did you have to go back to 2001 with your original National Press Club disclosure event, and others have done the same thing over the years, and trying to get, the mass media to respond, and they did, somewhat, but exactly what I'm referring to. This time around, the floodgates opened. And it was BBC, and it was Sky, and RT, and ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN. Everybody ran with the story 24 hours a day, and they didn't stop. They're still doing it now, right?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's.
Do you think this is an accident? It isn't an accident. Nothing like that is an accident, and nothing like that is done without a great deal of planning and contrivance. And that's the heads up I'm trying to give your listeners. And it isn't to say everyone involved in any particular effort is doing things for nefarious purpose. They may just be used by people who are doing this. But I'm saying that there is a singular underlying agenda to put out the evidence and attach to it a sort of xenophobic, scary alien invasion motif or theme. Now, a good example of that are, we had, an original Disclosure Project event, and if you look at our material, we have numerous independent guys who dealt with the Strategic Air Command nuclear ICBM arsenal, and similar people in the Soviet Union in the old days, where there had been UFOs that had overflown the facilities, done reconnaissance at them, and or in the case of the Minot, North Dakota case with Captain Salas and Arnie Arneson, Colonel Arneson, and others, disabled up to 20 intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles one morning. But interestingly, some people have gotten that event and said, "See, the aliens are a threat to our national security." The guys who were actually there told me that what they felt was being said is, "Please don't destroy this beautiful planet through this mutual assured destruction. But know this, that if you were to do that, we could intervene and keep it from destroying all life on Earth. Because I think these civilizations value life on Earth and its biodiversity and Earth's potential and humanity's potential." So I think that you could take the same set of facts and spin them in whatever direction you wish. That is what I'm talking about. And some years ago, in the 90s, I wrote a paper called "When Disclosure Serves Secrecy." Go read that paper. It's on our website. Every single thing I talk about in there is coming to pass. And the reason I wrote that wasn't that I was some, Kreskin looking into the future. I had been read into what this plan was and how it would operate and unfold back in the 90s. So people can take that for what it's worth. I've been long in this. I started this project in my mid-30s. I'm 62 now and have 8 grandchildren. So it's been a very long and treacherous journey. But I think that, people, I would just say people ignore what I'm saying, and they will ignore it at their great extent.
With this disclosure that happened on December 16th, one would suggest, and this is something that I've thought about, is that for the mainstream media to go and run with the story and then follow up with some tidbits in there about anti-gravity and high technology and so forth, that this would 100% destabilize the petrodollar. And it would be the opposite of what you would think the mainstream media and the puppet masters would want. And I was a bit confused about that. What do you think?
Well, it's nuanced, because if you look at what the folks said, like the Lockheed Martin gentleman, whose name is eluding me right now, was that, it's something we've looked into, but we really don't know how it works. That is a bold-faced lie. I have people who have been in those programs and have assured me that beginning in October of 1954, we mastered gravity control. There's no big mystery there. That is 60 plus years of achievement, and it's been refined and developed since then. It has not stood still. So part of this is, again, it's like the UAP thing. Oh, it's an unexplained aerial phenomenon. Like the hell it is. They know exactly what it is. But let's pretend like we don't know what it is. Let's pretend like the deep unacknowledged projects don't have fully functional anti-gravity devices that look like an alien ship but are man-made. Let's pretend. So there is this game being played of some fact here and a lot of deception. That's what I'm talking about. And I can assure you that what I'm telling you is the truth about this.
What is it that I mean, is this like a prime directive situation, if you know what I mean? What is it that the aliens, really want from us? Certainly they don't want our technology. They get here, we can't go, you know what I mean? I mean, what?
Well, no, what there are two things, and this is where people have greatly misunderstood what I'm saying. That the ET, I don't use say the word alien because people think of someone from, Honduras.
Right.
The ET civilizations are here for a number of reasons. The overarching one is to observe us and keep us under watch while we go through this very difficult transition from a fractured world with weapons of mass destruction to one that is as Michio Kaku calls it, a level 1 civilization that's at peace. We haven't made that transition. We should have made it about 100 years ago. So there is a problem with Earth and how humans are functioning. Okay, well, let's start that as a basis. I think most people will admit that who are honest. At the same time, you have to understand that the technologies that I'm referring to, which go into scalar and longitudinal systems that are faster than the speed of light that humans have become a threat to other planetary systems. And as Gordon Crichton said, who was a British intelligence officer who then later published Flying Saucer Review, if you look at the movie on technology, if you understand the interdimensional theory, that we may be doing a great deal of damage in that realm that is both ET and trans-dimensional. It's both, by the way. It's not either or. And that with the detonation of nuclear weapons and some of these other technologies. So there is an enlightened self-interest there as well, because I think that while they see the promise of Earth and humanity, they see the sort of adolescent rage that collectively we're in, where we have not reached maturity, the hallmark of which is we're living peacefully on the planet. We're not killing people who come forward with inventions that replace oil and nuclear power with something that's free energy and zero-point energy. And we've eliminated, the great disparities of poverty and the disease that are on the planet that can be fixed. And so I think that the ETs expect us to fix that problem, but they have a plan B that if we don't fix it and we become too much of a threat to other realms and planets, that we have to be contained. And so I call this the quarantine issue. Neil Armstrong was famously overheard saying, it's in Timothy Good's book about Top Secret, that when we landed on the moon, there were a whole lot of ET craft there, and that they basically warned us off the moon. They were not happy that we were going out in space in a competitive space program that was a proxy for the military in our competition with the Soviet Union back in the 50s and 60s. And I think that from their perspective, it's sort of the entry ticket to the cosmos is that a civilization has become a level 1 peaceful civilization, which we have not attained. So I think that they're playing a very long view here. They're waiting for us to reach that level of maturity. People get into this, what I call cosmic codependency, where they think they're either going to invade us, which is like Stephen Hawking's prattling on silly about this,
right?
Or they're going to come down and rescue us and fix all our problems. They're here to do neither. And I think that it's very important for people to understand that no civilization evolves if some other entity comes in and fixes all our problems for us. So I think that we have to grow up and address these issues head on, fix our own mess, get our own house in order. But if we blow the city, it's like when Dr. Bearden said, "Don't get me wrong, the fools may blow it yet," referring to the nonsense going on. It's a great interview I did with Dr. Bearden. I think that what people have to understand is that the ETs have a plan B, C, D, E, and F, and we don't have time to go into them all, but that deal with other contingencies, kind of worst-case scenarios of what we end up doing on this planet. But I think those are things that hopefully don't come to pass, and I'm at root an eternal optimist, and I have a vision that the human species will make it through this time of upheaval and chaos and come out on the other side as a worthy, peaceful civilization to become interplanetary. And I think that is our destiny. But I think to get there, we got a lot of explaining to do, and we have a lot of fixing to do, and we have a lot of growing up to do.
And we have, and this is where, and I understand the benevolent side of things, because it's my belief that if they wanted to take this from us, they would have already done it. And that's we can't deny that. But then we have what can be up into the millions of people and witnesses that talk about abductions, violations, personal violations. We have cattle mutilations, human mutilations, abductions, and craziness that are going on out there where benevolent doesn't come to mind when you hear about these experiences.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that we have just a little bit that's in the documentary and more in the book about classified projects that have been staging those for decades. I know people personally who have been on the abduction squads masquerading as aliens. Now, it's not to say that everyone who's had a scary contact experience had a unacknowledged special access project operation run against them, but it's a very mixed picture. Certainly, the mutilations, I know for a fact, have been done masquerading as alien when they are not. So I think that one of the problems gets into everyone tries to take a phenomenon or a bit of evidence and reach a conclusion and bypass, a dozen steps of analysis and research. And that's one of the problems is the jumping to conclusions based on what seems to be obvious. And of course, often it's said, well, the humans don't have the technologies to do that. Well, actually, we do. And they've been developed since the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And, every single person, whether they've been at the agency or at the Army or at this technology management office in the subbasement of the Pentagon or at Lockheed Martin or Raytheon and E-Systems, executives have all told me that if people had any idea what the human technological capabilities are, they would completely fall out of their chairs. They wouldn't believe it. So I think that we have to look at all the data and all the experiences and back it up and say, is it actually ET or is it man-made masquerading as ET? And to do that, you have to do a very deep research into what the human covert capabilities are and how they developed in the post-World War II era.
I just watched this tweet roll by, and I don't normally say something like this, but I'm going to do it. I just have to, because everybody is thinking this way. We have Dr. Greer, we have DeLong, we have Corey Good, we have Wilcock, we have Stanton Friedman, we have Linda Moulton Howe, we have Richard Dolan. The list was long, right? It was just right. And it was just, everybody has got a take. Who do we trust and believe? Why can't we all just get along? Why?
Oh, well, yeah. Right. It's not about getting along. It's about,
but you know how
perspective.
But you know how the community perceives this. And that's...
Well, that isn't my concern, actually. I mean, everyone thinks that my concern is the UFO subculture. It never has been. And I'm not trying to be mean about this. I think that we have to look at, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and I think we have to be concerned with the human future And I don't really care about the politics of ufology and all that. I mean, many people live and breathe that. I'm honestly have never been very interested in it. My own interest lies with the larger world and cosmos out there. And so all of that doesn't interest me. Where I get interested is where there are people who may be in our community who are being provided disinformation or being deceived. They don't have access to sources, methods, and people. That where they can then begin to wittingly or unwittingly advance what I have called, when disclosure serves secrecy, a secret agenda masquerading as disclosure or masquerading as information. So now, I mean, people are free to believe what they want. They can believe in the tooth fairy. They can believe the world's coming to an end tomorrow. They can believe whatever they want. What I'm trying to do is provide an analysis and a rational view, but also one that has a path going forward. Because if you were to take many of these things at their face value and say, okay, let's assume that there are one or more civilizations out there that are really quite dreadful. What is your solution? You're going to have a Star Wars like George Lucas's fantasy films with the lasers shooting back and forth? No. You're dealing with technologies that go beyond the speed of light, that could evaporate an entire planet in a nanosecond or less. You are not going to resolve these issues on the level of the normal Manichaean black and white, us and them, cowboys and Indians sort of narrative that has been the stock and trade of the bane of human existence for thousands of years, that have led to all the ruinous, mostly pointless wars that we've experienced. So, as Einstein said, no problem is solved by the level of consciousness that created it. We're not going to solve this problem, even if you assume that, and it can't prove a negative, you can't prove there are no civilizations out there that are quite do not like us and are doing things against us. What you can do, though, is say that whatever the situation is out there, we have to take another direction in resolving it, because this idea that you're going to solve every problem with a technological application that is a more and more ruinous weapon system on Earth or in space or on an aircraft, that is not the answer. So, and this is not at all me being Pollyannish. It's just the reality of the situation, that the technologies, as Arthur C. Clarke said, any civilization sufficiently advanced to get here, every aspect of their technology would look like magic to us. Some of these civilizations are a few thousand years ahead of us, but some are millions of years ahead of us. The idea that we're going to engage them in sort of a conflict, and then the question becomes, if there are those out there that are concerned, what have we done to attract them? And every military person on the inside I've talked to said, clearly, there have been ET events that have gone back into human history. But the big modern era began with us detonating atomic and nuclear weapons. And that somehow a big red flag went up over this planet, showing that we were not only a threat to ourselves, but potentially a threat to others out there. And I'm not so sure that the response has been all that sweetness and light in some cases, because there are civilizations out there that are quite dismayed at our direction and our behavior. Rightly so, by the way. And this is not to be at all traitorous to the human race. It's to dispassionately take a look at what we are doing to our planet, Gaia, what we are doing to the biosphere, what we're doing to each other, and the proliferation of endless wars for the last century that have resulted in hundreds of millions of people being killed. Now we want to embark on ridiculous misadventures that could result in billions being killed. No, let's not go there. So I think we have to take the long view, and I know that these civilizations, no matter what their agendas are taking a very long view. And not all of them are thrilled with what's been going on for the last 50 to 100 years. And who would blame them? I mean, take a step out of yourself for a minute, everyone listening. And you've come across this planet, and here we are, unnecessarily destroying the biosphere while we hide zero-point energy and other technologies,
right?
Engaging in endless wars, have thousands of thermonuclear weapons that could turn the Earth into radioactive cinder floating through space. And on top of it, all these super secret projects that have reverse engineered ET technologies and developed them into more weapons of mass destruction that have been deployed on satellites in space and on aircraft that are targeting shooting down ET craft. That's what's happening. So, you could excuse them for being a little jaundiced or not completely pleased with not humans per se, but our human civilization and how it's being directed. And I think that we have to step back and take a long view, not just look through the eyes of the inhuman, but try to look through the mind of an ET and say, what would this look like to them? And I think this is, in the heart of compassion of the Buddha, is to actually be within the mind of another being and see the world and experience it. I think we have to begin to develop this level of consciousness and compassion to begin to understand our own plight, but how we might be viewed and what others may be doing out in the cosmos as a result of our behavior.
Well, I can answer that directly, how they would look at us. We're the hillbillies of the universe.
Yeah, well, or worse.
Worse, right. And,
but I think that not everyone, and remember, most people on Earth are basically good people who just want to live their life and educate their children and love their family, etc. The problem has become the masses of the people have become manipulated by the worst sociopath elements amongst us, just as the German people were by the Third Reich. We have got to realize that that's what's happening and awaken to it and resist it. I'm not saying violently, but resist it in consciousness and our actions.
And I want to thank you for hanging out a little bit longer. I want to leave on this note. What is next for disclosure? I mean, what can we expect? And do you have any idea of a timeline?
Well, a timeline, all I can say is that it's quickening. The official sort of deeper intelligence community agendas, as I have described, and they are picking up the timeline. None of this is a surprise to me. I know when we did the initial event in 2001, a member of the committee that keeps this secret, who was the grandson of James Jesus Angleton, called me and said, you have moved up our action and timeline by 12 years at least, and then we're going to react. And it was an ominous phone call the day after that event at the National Press Club. But, it's a very dynamic situation. I think that it's almost like a butterfly over its wings flapping and change. There's so many moving elements that I'm remiss to give timelines per se, except to say that the wild card in all this isn't the people who are hardened sociopaths in the intelligence community. It's we the people. It's what we the people believe and think and do. That is going to drive the timeline and the outcome more than anything else. We have more power than we realize, and we have to awaken and empower ourselves and act accordingly.
Is the timeline for disclosure and the fake alien invasion, is it the same thing? I mean, would the fake alien invasion indeed be disclosure? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing, the preparatory things now, and have been for a number of years. I think they date back to the 60s and 70s. But I think that, yes, it's coming to a head. My sources indicate that it is a quickening. As far as a date or a singular event, there are a number of scenarios that you could war game out, and which we have. But all I'm saying is that I made the movie unacknowledged and put that book out for a damn good reason. I'm on this show tonight for a very good reason, and you should take it under advisement. And beyond that, we'll see. All I can say is that if the citizenry is informed and awakened, there's only so much that they can get away with. However, if we go running like Chicken Little, scared to death, and take the storyline from the masters who manipulate the media, manipulate evidence, we have to be, we'll be guilty of sort of complicity by ignorance. So I think we have to realize that's really the challenge, is to understand this issue, but understand what the path forward can be that's a good outcome for our people, for humans and for the earth, and for the long-term future. And that's very clear what that path is going to be. It does not consist of running around with the sky is falling and we need to go around kicking alien butt and engage in World War III in space. This is not the answer. And anyone who thinks it is completely deluded. And I think that's why all of us have a responsibility to educate each other, come together in communities. It's the big reason why I founded the CE5 initiative, where people form teams to go out to make peaceful contact. I hope our next big documentary will be on that, because it will deal with higher states of consciousness, contact, and what the ordinary, average person can do to show another side of humanity to these interstellar civilizations.
Dr. Greer, thank you so much. And what do you have going on? Do you have any events happening that you want to mention really quick?
Well, we'll probably do an expedition under the stars in May out in Arizona. We haven't announced it formally yet, but those interested could write to us and get on a list. We're planning to do another major feature film, as I mentioned, on the CE5 initiative. And I personally am grounded. I can't drive for 3 months because of this busted shoulder, so right. I'm sort of being driven around by my wife. So I say a little prayer that this heals up well. It's been a mess, but hey, stuff happens, and the body gets broken.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and give our best to Emily, and look forward to having you back on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. Dr. Stephen Greer. Now, all of his info is over at jimmychurchradio.com, of course. Unacknowledged is there. You can go and check that out. And what was that? Oh, Twitter, at Dr. Stephen Greer. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard, on jimmychurchradio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio, or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness,
Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit Capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482? No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Dr. Stephen Greer. Great conversation. Wow. Okay, I'm opening up the phone lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I've got lots of questions lined up there. I'll get to those. Hashtag F2BQ is where the questions are. And, of course, hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Now, I want to hold up to the camera, everybody. Check this out. This came to the bunker today. There it is, my Fade to Black coffee mug. Look at that. The Bell Jar Fade to Black coffee mug from Tinette. And that is absolutely amazing, and it's full of River Moon coffee. Thank you, Tinette. Look at I'm going to hold it up to the camera again. Look at that. Hold on. There it is. Okay. You got it? Fade to Black, man. That is just too cool. Thank you, Tinette. And that will be treasured and honored for years to come. Okay, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Heidi in the UK again.
Heidi? Heidi Neal?
In the UK, yes.
In the flesh.
It's your however lady.
Okay. No kid. However. So how are you, Heidi? What time is it over there in the UK right now?
It's 5 a.m.
5 a.m. and you're up listening to Fade to Black. Thank you. I am honored, young lady. Thank you so much.
I try not to miss it, but my time's all over the place at the moment. I don't know whether I'm American or British or Chinese or Australian. I just sleep when I'm tired and whatever.
Yeah.
Time has no meaning to me whatsoever.
I think we know where you're from with that accent. So what did you think of the conversation tonight with Dr. Greer?
It's very interesting. It really is very interesting, all this stuff that's happening. Well, I'm going to say it. However... my concern with a lot of stuff like this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with me, all this should be free access. I know they've got to make some money, do they? My point is, I did actually ask a question earlier on Twitter, but obviously you didn't get around to it. I'm sure now, if they were to redo the citizens' hearing, because obviously that was like huge amounts of money to get that thing up and running and pay for people to come and give their testimony, etc. But I'm pretty sure with the latest, the 16th of December thing, I'm pretty sure that donations would flood in now to get that done again. Because obviously now it's gone global with the whole mainstream media coverage. I think they should do that again, because obviously you're going to get a lot more inverted commas whistleblowers now than you had then. I mean, I know they're all extremely high caliber, but you could really do something massive with that now, and I'm sure people would gladly donate to that. I don't agree with putting big price tags on, just to use the CE5 as an example. I just think it's something now that needs to be globally heard and seen for free. That is the whole point of it. I mean, the word disclosure is, allowing everybody to see what's going on. So I think stepping away from the charging bit is a way forward. And as I say, I think if they were to redo the citizens' hearing now, I don't think funding would be an issue, because people do want to see it. We're desperate. I mean, I think the disclosure gap between December's announcement and now has been far too long. Obviously, the interest peaked. But I think, not to say that people aren't going to sit up and listen again, but I think it's waning a little bit because they've left it too long. It should have been possibly a whole flood, once a week at least of now the mainstream media on it, of whistleblowers that maybe we all know about, but obviously the general public aren't aware of these people. Unless they're into the subject and they follow it on YouTube or wherever, people aren't actually aware of what's gone down and who's talking about it and what they're talking about.
Well, so, I'll tell you what's interesting on what you just said. When it comes to the CE5, what I dig about the CE5 is the awareness that it brought. Okay, that getting a group of people together, meditating and peacefully calling in our space brothers. Okay, I dig that. But let me tell you something. I can do when I okay, I'm just going to say this directly. When I do a night watch and Jimmy Church is there ain't no meditation going on. I'm a loud,
exactly. You just got to connect.
Right. I'm a loud, obnoxious, fun guy, and I'm out there laughing. I'm the opposite of meditation. I've done night watches where I've had people come up to me and go, "Jimmy, you got to be a little more quiet."
Nonsense. They love the energy.
No,
they love the energy.
Exactly.
It's the same when you ghost hunt. You'll always find. I went on a ghost hunt this weekend, just gone actually, in Hastings, and every time we were laughing, not messing around necessarily, but just the energy was so high. We were getting more responses by that behaviour, if you like, if you want to call it behaviour, by that energy, we were getting higher responses than anything else. And obviously, the ghost, the spirit subject, and the ET world, I believe, is linked anyway, multidimensionally. They go for the energy because it's a higher vibration. So, sitting and going, if that floats your boat, yes, but absolutely, you just got to put out a positive vibration, and they'll pick up on it.
Yeah,
simple.
I mean, I've had a couple of hundred people standing around me, and I'm like, "Let's go!" and just get everybody yelling and screaming, and the next thing you know, something crazy goes down.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying if it works for them, fine. I'm going the other way with it, Heidi. Okay, so now let me ask you. Let me ask you this: with and you just commented on this, the disclosure that happened on December 16th, which I applauded. I'm fully engaged behind it. Dr. Greer's got his reasons for saying, okay, let's use discernment here. Okay, all right, that's fine, but that doesn't take away from me. My enthusiasm, and I look forward to what DeLong has got to do next. I really do, and I'm okay with that. Why? More people are talking about it, just like you have just mentioned here.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good thing. I really, really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. The more we can share this, the more we can get it out there, the more hashtags we can add to this weird subject, the better. get it trending, you know.
Now, what
I'm
happened?
a big one for that, you know I am.
Yes, you are. What happened with the UK? The way that the BBC dealt with that too as well. How do you think that the show host over there and the newscasters handled it? Do you think they did a good job?
Well, do you know what? For a start, I don't watch any TV whatsoever. And to be honest, with regard to British media handling any subject along these lines, because I'm a colleague of Joanne Summerscales from the ET Newsroom, and a documentary was done. I mean, I know documentaries are slightly different, but nevertheless, they tend to put it across as you guys out there, as your mainstream media used to put the, oh, little green men, ha, 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 after every article. The Brits are still like that over here. And I mean, I've still got people that want to talk to me about it. Now, they know that I'm the alien girl. You know, I'm known as that now. Mm-hmm. I used to clear pubs when I walked in. Now they have to form a queue to talk to me. But nonetheless, it's still... I think we're still medieval when it comes to this stuff. People are very straight-laced, very, you know, the Brits form an orderly queue sort of thing. And they're still not opening up to it as they should be. This is why Joanne and I struggle so much with the events we try to organise. We organised an experiencer evening last year in Hastings for anybody that wants to literally come along and, you know, share their stories with like-minded people. And we had 3 people. 3 people turned up. It was awful. Wow. So, yeah, with regard to how the BBC handled it, to be honest, I didn't see it, but you can guarantee it was laughed and giggled about. We're still behind, basically.
Heidi, thank you so much for calling.
It's hard work.
Thank you so much for calling in, and keep us posted on everything that's going on in the UK. Thank you so much.
All right, sweetie.
I'll talk to you. You got it. Heidi Neal, everybody, live from the UK. And let's just... whoa. Okay, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, Deb from Sacramento.
Hey, Deb from Sacramento. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. Fabulous. I just got my Fade to Black T-shirt and Life Change Tea today, and my T-shirt's autographed. So I'm so excited.
There you go. Yeah. Now, we'll see. But that's good and bad. The bad news is you can't wash it now. So you have to wear it forever and let it get good and ripe.
Okay, well, I wore it to work today, of all places, which is a no-no, but I did it anyway because my boss wasn't there. And a bunch of people in the hallway and on the elevator are like, oh, let me see your shirt. They're like, oh, my God, that looks so cool. And I was telling them the radio station and how they can get it on YouTube and everything. And one lady goes, I think my daughter listens to that station. And I said, she goes, that's the UFO stuff, right? And I go, yeah. And she goes, oh. I go, well, the millennials, they get it. And she goes, yeah, they sure do. So all kinds of different conversations are breaking out all over the place.
Oh, that is too funny. That's what the shirt is for. Well, look, the shirt looks cool, right? So it's cool to wear. Yeah. It's got that, but it's advertising to get the message out. You know, so thank you for that. Okay, you know, one at a time. That's what we do. One at a time.
Right.
So, what did you think about the conversation tonight with Dr. Greer?
Okay, so Greer, I followed him for a long time. Everything he said and I have basically heard before. But, you know, it's so important for him to keep saying it because what you just said was, you know, the whole DeLong thing, and he may not agree with it or whatever, but it's like it's still exposure. And the people that first hear about DeLong stuff that aren't into it, that's going to get their attention, it's going to expose it and put it out there. And then what are they going to do? They're going to go to YouTube. They're going to start researching. Who are they going to find? They're going to find Greer. They're going to see all his stuff. They're going to start listening to all kinds of different stuff, and they're going to get his message. And so we can still be discerning, but if we're just all asleep, we can't be discerning. So it's still good to get it out there, expose them to everything out there, listen to everybody, and then that way, just like we were all kind of just buying what they told us about 9/11 because we'd never seen anything like that before.
Right.
If they hit us with an alien fake invasion, you know, our minds are open and we're watching and we're alert, and we just won't just buy what the media tells us.
Well,
you know, we'll be able to use some discernment.
Yes. And this is, okay, now, obviously, I think what happened on the show tonight is how I deal with the show. I listen to what everybody has to say, and then we discuss it later, right? Let's digest it and figure it out. The whole alien invasion scenario, the fake alien invasion, I laid it out for everybody last month exactly why I think it will never happen. It's impossible. And I gave my reasons for that. I don't, and I'm not, so I'm not here to confront Dr. Greer and go, dude, man, it ain't going to happen, and this is why. That's not good radio, and that's not fun. It's just not. It's you need to have couth, and you have to have a certain amount of tact. But the fake alien invasion scenario, I mean, to get the world to buy into that, I think it's nearly impossible. First off, there are enough telescopes on this planet and amateur astronomers out there that are going to be looking out to the stars and see nothing, right? Okay, so there's that part. Now, the second, Project Bluebeam and holograms and holographs and there are too many people with weapons that would shoot. And the bullets would pass straight through. It would happen. So, like, you know what? I don't even think that's a real craft. I think that's a projection, and I don't think that would last for very long. I don't think that would be good enough to cause panic in the streets. So, how would you do a fake alien invasion? And I understand Dr. Greer's response to that, which is, man, the technology is really, really amazing. Okay, it is, but the technology is not going to be a solid, ginormous 2-mile Independence Day craft that's going to float in here that is real. Right? It's ours.
How do we know that for sure? I was listening to the show last night, and you know the guy that sent you the email with that 500-foot craft that he saw, and he got video of it? What if you have that analyzed, and what if it's a hologram, and you can't tell by the video that it's a hologram?
Sure.
But it looks real.
We could.
I don't know.
But, Deb, we could play that game all day long. Okay, so and go in circles. I totally agree with you. What I'm saying is that there are too many reasons to nullify the fake alien invasion. I don't think it could be pulled off. What I'm afraid of is the real alien invasion. That's what I'm afraid of. And that I think that we should all, and again with discernment, us playing that kind of false flag against ourselves, and we do it all the time. There's no question about that. We use that card all the time. But the fake alien invasion card, I think, is impossible to pull off. It would only work for a few minutes. The panic in the streets and everything else. But sooner or later, it's the boy who cried wolf. And you're going to back up and go, okay, now where are the aliens? Look, I'll give you the perfect example. And it really happened. And that's the War of the Worlds back in 1938. Okay, it worked for a minute until people went out and in New Jersey, and they're looking around for the Martians, and they weren't there. It only works for so long, and I'm telling you, it would be a matter of minutes.
Well, okay, but let me just say one more thing, because I don't want to go, I don't want to argue or anything.
No, we're not arguing. We're not arguing.
Okay. But the thing that I think about when he talks about all this advanced technology, I keep thinking about 9/11, and I think those buildings were dustified by something, and it might have been something that we have up in space that we don't know about by, laser pulse weapons or something. So what if they throw holograms up their spaceships, and then they use those weapons and they fire down at us on the Earth, and we think that the ships are firing at us?
Mm-hmm.
That's just something that, when I think about advanced technology, it's like, what if they use it for that?
Right, right. And I brought that up, and you're absolutely right. But at some point, the fake lasers from space need to start killing people. And you understand what I'm saying? It's only going to last for so long. That's now when it comes to 9/11, let's call it right here. When it comes to 9/11. And I've been to the top of the World Trade Centers, okay, or one of them. I don't know which one. I've been to the top and I've looked around, and I've commented before that those were the most amazing buildings ever. And you walk into that lobby and you're looking, you're just like, man, the strength, the power. And you go into any skyscraper like that. I've been in the Sears Tower. I've been in the John Hancock building. I've been in the Empire State Building. I haven't been in the new one, World One or whatever it's called. I haven't been in that one, but I've been in some big, tall buildings, and they are strong, right? And so the fact that those came down the way that they did, I have serious issues with that. I just don't know how they pulled it off. I don't think it was done with airplane fuel. I don't. No. So what really brought the buildings down? I don't know if we'll ever know. Unless some crazy whistleblower comes forward and says, okay, here's the documents, here's the plans, here it is, here's the names, the places, and the technology that we used. But my eyes tell me that they should not have fallen. Because I've been there. I've seen, and it's just, I don't buy into that. And I have a big issue. Now, who, what, when, where, how, who, that's a whole nother thing. And I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it. I really don't.
I know.
Yeah. And the question of false flags, look, when we look at Operation Northwoods, we look at the Gulf of Tonkin, we look at World War I, and even World War II. The art of deception to use something for your own means is something that's been practiced, and it goes back thousands of years. This isn't anything new. It isn't anything new with our country or our government. No, it's just something that's been practiced forever. Do you remember Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition, right? Now, as funny as that is, and it's hilarious, but that taught me a lesson from a very young age, right? It's really, this has been going on forever. So thank you so much, Deb. I wanted to ask you one more question about Greer, and I can't remember. Man, I had another question for you about Greer. I can't remember. All right, thank you so much, Deb. And B. Was this? Have you done your own CE5?
No, I want to, but he said he comes first, then the CE5 thing with him. He said he's on the top of my list first.
Yeah. Well, ESETI, you're going to do your own CE5 there 24/7.
That'll be cool. And, I totally agree with your energy, too. I don't care if it's meditation. If it's positive, whether you're yelling or you're happy or it's positive, loveful thoughts that you're giving to them, that's what they're drawn to.
Thank you so much, Deb. And be safe and be well. That's a great conversation right there. Let's stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, it's Jason from Louisiana.
Jason, from what part of Louisiana, Jason?
Lafayette.
Oh, Lafayette. Lafayette.
Yes.
Who did we have on? Did you hear on Coast the other night? We had somebody on from Lafayette, one of the callers. Did you hear that?
I'm not sure, Jimmy.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
There's so many I listen to. There's so many.
I get it. What's on your mind, Jason?
I listened to Stephen tonight, and I hear, everything he's saying. I hear everything David Wilcox saying. I hear everything everybody's saying. But a lot of things that people aren't talking about is AI. And that's my real fear right now, is I think we're closer to AI than we are to aliens possibly coming here. I think they're already here, but showing up on the White House lawn, not so much. I think it's probably going to be AI, and that's what scares a lot of people most, is having some AI out there that knows way more than us and can do more than us, because Gordy Rose is out for Kendrick AI, and he's out to solve this issue. I think we need to ask ourselves some deep questions here.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you on that, Jason. But totally 100% with you. By the way, that's a reality that we are dealing with right now, and there are some pretty crazy dudes out there with a lot of money and a lot of engineers and big companies behind them pursuing AI at breakneck speed. That's a fact.
Right.
That is a fact.
I mean, I think we're already there. These people like Gordy Rose come out with Kendrick AI and talk about, they're summoning these things, and he doesn't go in to tell us if it's aliens or something else or demonic entities.
Right.
I think everything truly is connected, no matter what, consciously. So I think that we can communicate with things throughout the universe. I truly believe that. I've had my own experiences, possible abductions, missing time, things like that have always come up, and it's kind of been a little scary for me. So I'm seeking, more truth, and I listen to everybody. And it's just a weird thing. I think we're closer to that than we are meeting an alien. I think we've already have. I think Bob Lazar is correct. I think all the stuff in S4 has really happened. That's why they call it Dreamland. I think, all those things that are magic, it's real. I truly believe it, at least, but I think AI is our bigger problem. That's just my only option here, my only theory.
This is the trippy thing. Before I let you go, I want you to answer this for me. It's one thing to fear AI, okay? But I think the part that we don't understand is those that are creating that technology and pushing that forward aren't going to be able to control it, and they think that they will. And that's what's crazy.
I agree. I 100% agree. I'm not sure you can control something that thinks they control itself. Maybe if we have little tiny robots and computers that do things, but you see what they're building with Sophia in Saudi Arabia and the First Citizen. They're building these things to look like people. So, and they're connecting brains now to signals and chips, and it's just a little weird for me to, I love the AI story now just because it's so fresh. And I understand computers a little bit, but the quantum computers, if anybody's out there, you might want to see how these things actually operate. And then the AI portions after the quantum. So it's pretty scary stuff. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but, at least open your mind a little bit, see how these things actually operate. It's interesting.
You're absolutely right,
that's all
Jason.
I got, Jimmy.
Hey, man, great phone call. Thank you, man. And be safe out there in Lafayette.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
I'll talk to you. And the quantum computing thing, that part of it, if you have any idea, and you can go look at the Blue Wave systems right now, and you can go look at those computers, and you can see what they are doing. I watched a documentary 2 nights ago about quantum computing and what is the latest of the latest of what is going on out there. And the ability for qubits to do those calculations that they can do right now is nuts. But when you combine that with CERN and the other stuff that is going on at the same time, and you combine that with AI, I'm telling you, I think, and this is what Jason was alluding to right there, I think that they've opened up the door a couple of times to some portals that they don't understand, and something is crossed over. And when you deal with that and that part of it with not only AI, okay, but the possibility of these questions of our own timelines and the Mandela effect coming into play here, what is actually the case? And I'm not so sure that they know what they are doing. And think about that for a second. And that's for me the bizarre part. They don't know. They don't know. Things have crossed over. Our timelines have changed. Think about that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet, I'm keeping the phone lines open, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're
Hello?
live. Yeah, you're live.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, buddy?
Who's this?
Ricardo. I'm calling from San Diego, California.
Hi, Ricardo. How are you?
Good, buddy. Just wanted to ask something I had in my mind. I was listening to your show about Stephen Greer. I also support that guy. I've been following him for the past 5-6 years.
Right.
But I'm not sure. I mean, I believe in aliens. I want to believe they come from outer space. But what happens if maybe there are, like Richard Dolan says, that there's I forgot the word he uses, but they're a different civilization. Like they have more advanced things that they don't want us to know about, and they're probably the guys or people that live in our inner Earth. So what happens if the UFOs are not from space? What happens if they're all from Earth? And maybe the aliens are created by us. They're not actually from outer space. Have you ever thought about that?
I think about it all the time. And I'll give you a really good example of that. It's called time travel, right? Time travel. What if they are us? What if they are us? What if they are us from the future? And another way to look at it is this. If you, Ricardo, let's say you're time traveling, right? And you go back or you go into the future. It doesn't matter. You know, you're time traveling. Are you going to want to be discovered? No, you are not. If you are a time traveler and you go back in time and you get caught, bad things are going to happen. You're not going to be able to explain your way out of anything. It's not going to be a good scene. And that's, forget about paradoxes and changing the past or changing the future and all of that. No. But if you are a time traveler going to the past and you get caught, it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to want to be seen. You're not going to want to be discovered. And if you go to the future and you're a time traveler, you need to be invisible. Now, if these craft, these things, right? There are reasons why you would not want to be, if you are time traveling, right, from the future, you're not going to want to be discovered. And the other thing is, we're just like you traveling into the past or to the future. We shoot first and ask questions later. That's what we do, right? So these craft that are coming in, we have our own military. That's the problem, but we also have us. That is the problem. And shoot now and ask later. So if you're a time traveler and it's us, you're not going to want to be discovered. And there's too many problems that go with that. And so, yeah, have I thought about it? I think about it all the time. I really do. What if it's just us? You know? Right. So do you remember in Rendlesham, when that craft was seen by Peniston and Burroughs and I think, and Peniston said that he was told through the download when he touched that craft that it was actually us, right?
Yeah.
That it was from the future.
The year 2160, something like that.
Right. So what? I don't have a problem with that. First off, we don't know, right? So we need to put every option on the table, Ricardo. You know, we really, really do. Until we have the solid, real answers, the facts are we're being visited by something. We are. I've seen it myself. There's no question in my mind that E.T. has been here, is here now, and right now above San Diego, you go out in front of your house with some night vision and look up into the sky, and you're going to see something that you can't explain right now at this very second.
Oh, yeah, yes. That satisfies your answer. That satisfies me pretty much. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But before I let you go,
sure.
My daughter said that she wants you to shout out. Her name is Alexia. She's only like 10 years old, and she loves watching you on TV.
Oh, what's her name?
Alexia.
Alexia, what is up? Hi, Alexia. Hey, listen, do me a favor. Can you answer a question for me?
Yeah.
Is your dad cool?
Yes, of course.
He's the coolest. Thank you so much, Alexia. Hey, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Send your email, send your address, and I'll send a T-shirt down to Alexia, okay?
Oh, man, you're awesome, bro. Hey, appreciate you, bro, all right?
All right. Thank you, Alexia. I'll talk to you. Thank you, Ricardo. Write Rita right now, okay?
I will, buddy. Appreciate it, bro. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. That's how we get Fadernauts, everybody. we buy them with T-shirts at the youngest of age. That's what we do. Yeah, I mean, time travel. What if it's just us? What if it's just us? And then, you know what comes into play here is the Mandela effect, the altering of timelines, little things here and there, those little things that tell us that something's not right. And, before you go, my memory is, maybe it's my memory. No, it's not. It could be. But maybe it's us visiting us here and now. And I don't have any issues with that. And there's so many reasons why that would make sense. There's so many reasons. And Einstein, let's go to hard physics. Let's just go to science right now. Einstein said, going into the future, easy. Can do it. It's easy. Well, first you got to travel at the speed of light or close to it. But you pull that off, time travel, it's here and now. Going into the past is difficult. Now, I have issues with that because the past has already happened. So why wouldn't going to the past be easier than going into the future, which hasn't happened? Right? I have that problem. It's a fundamental thing for me. Going into the past should be easy. It's a snapshot. It's in the ether. It's electromagnetic. Why can't we just go into the past and hang out? Why? Well, he says no to that, or it would be very, very difficult and take a lot of energy. But going into the future, that's easy. Jump on a spaceship, head out at the speed of light, go out for a couple of years, turn around and come back 50 years, 100 years in the future. Take your pick. Right? Now you have just time travel. No time machine involved. Just merely speed of light, leaving Earth, and then turning around and coming back. Everything that you know and loved is dead and gone, and now you are a time traveler. Think about that. Okay, so is time travel possible? Of course it is. Einstein said it is so. All right? Now, if that is indeed the case, and you would come back, you've aged 2 years, right? Because everything is slowed down. And you come back, or 1 year. Let's say it's you're 1 year older. You went from 35 to 36 years old, but you come back to planet Earth, and it's not 2018. It's 2118. Now you're looking at a different technology. What's going on here, right? And now, maybe at that point, 100 years in the future, they've nailed down time travel with the time machine and teleportation and quantum and all of that. Think about that. That could be exactly what we are dealing with now. Think about it. It makes sense, doesn't it? All right. With that, I skipped a commercial break with Stephen Greer, so I'm going to get that commercial break in right here, right now. Got to pay the bills, right? Got to pay the bills. So let's do that, and I'll come back and continue with your phone calls. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Want to remind everybody that tomorrow night is Fader Night. John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines all night long. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with me.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. Get the tea.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Twitter, wow, I expected that tonight. I had mentioned at the top of the show about us and the photographs that were taken last night at the end of the show, after the show, of the turquoise blue orbs that we shot while shooting the blue-red lunar eclipse last night, the moon, right? Well, I got some pictures in, and I want to thank Kat. Her image that she sent is exactly what we're talking about here. Thank you for that, Kat. So send me your images that you took of the blue moon. If you've got anything with a blue orb in it, turquoise, she's got exactly what we photographed last night. This is incredible. And we've got 4 cameras that have confirmed this. Also, Kat, if you could, I'll reply back. What kind of camera did you use? What kind of cell phone did you shoot this with? All right. Phone lines are still open. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy. This is Tom from Dayton, Ohio. How you doing, man?
Hi, Tom from Dayton, Ohio, home of Wright Patterson.
Yeah. Got a call in today, and I wanted to thank you for some River Moon coffee, man. Got me 4 pounds of the Fade to Black blend.
It's all that, isn't it?
Oh, but I can't drink any other coffee now.
There you go. What'd you think of Stephen Greer tonight?
It was The worst thing about the Stephen Greer interview was that he didn't stick around for phone calls. It's just like when you were supposed to have Corey Good on, and you had David Wilcock, excellent fill-in. That was just blowing my mind, that show with him. But when you have these guys on there that I have so many questions for, and then you just don't get an opportunity to talk to them. But the shows are so good, you don't have time to do the calls. But last time I called in, I asked you about this disclosure thing, and with this this slow disclosure thing, I'm kind of in the mindset of feeling like that is an opportunity for them to do what, and this is what I said to you at that time, was what Werner von Braun said was, fake that alien invasion, because if they roll out this thing slowly, there's no Band-Aid that gets ripped off. There's no sudden shift in consciousness. There's just, hey, we'll feed them this, we'll feed them that, and we'll just walk them down this path, and ultimately it could lead to that, supposed alien invasion. And when I called you last time, you laid it out for me, man, and I didn't know this, but we've heard that comment attributed to Werner von Braun for ages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had heard it originally from, something Stephen Greer had put out, and he mentioned it tonight in the show, and I was just waiting for you to ask him, hey, I know you can't do that, when he's talking, but I just wanted you to, just ask him, say, hey, where'd you get that information? Is there anything you could send me or something like that? Because, when I said it, you told me, hey, I looked into it and I couldn't find anything.
Well,
and, I'm just wondering what.
Yeah, let me jump in there. I mean, the original quote was taken from Carol Rosin, and I've talked to her about this, and she heard it directly from Werner. But what my comment was to go back into the historical record and catch where he said it himself in a public sense, where it was quoted and attributed to him, whether it was in an interview, he wrote it, it was in a book. And I'm not discounting Carol Rosin at all. And I'm sure that he said it to her, but that is a secondhand source. I wanted a direct quote from Werner somewhere, and I could not find it where it was attributed to him in a direct sense.
Right. Yeah, and I was just wondering. I guess maybe Greer was having the same source as you, or attributing it to her, and that's where he's putting it out. I mean, he's got a lot of contacts, so I mean, he might have some document sitting around somewhere that says, hey, yeah, this was written on this day, or this was recorded on this day, or whatnot, and he might be able to put that out there for us. So,
yeah. You're right about that. And we've got a weird echo in your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's me echoing back. But and thank you for the phone call.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great one, Jimmy.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry about that echo. And I'm probably what it is. It's me coming through his earpiece back into the phone, and then we get that. So, but anyway, I'm not discounting Carol Rosin in this. I'm sure that she had this conversation with him, and it was said to her. What I have always stood on there is I went back after hearing this many times. The quote is out there, and it has been requoted and quoted. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I tried to find it in the historical record. That's all. I wanted to know if he actually wrote this, or in a book, or is in a speech, or maybe he said it in an interview, or that's all I wanted. Because then we have two sources on this, and then we could run with it, because then it becomes a very, very heavy statement. So, Carol is great, and she's been there, and her her initiative with weaponized space and everything that she has done in her interviews and where she has been, it's all just absolutely amazing. So that's all. I wanted to find a secondary source for that in the historical record. Now, okay, so back to the Stephen Greer stuff. Oh, before, you know what, we'll pick up on this tomorrow night, and we'll take things further. I'm running out of time here, but there was a comment here. This is from Dew Sky. And I wanted to bring this up with Stephen Greer tonight, and I didn't, which is this. Jimmy, where are you at with the current season of The X-Files? Are you digging it, or what do you think has been, dubbed down too much, and also the lost art of forehead sweat? Now, is this, and at the end of the episode with the ET getting back on his spacecraft and the conversation that he had with Scully and Mulder right there, when he said this, and this is what blew my mind. Chris Carter's really good. When he said, we don't like you guys. I'm paraphrasing. We don't like you. We don't like you guys. So you guys can do whatever you want. We're not going to interfere. But we have built a wall around your solar system, and you can't leave. You can't leave. We're done. Goodbye. And he walks up the steps and jumps on his little saucer and takes off. And I thought to myself for a second, that's kind of what Stephen Greer was talking about tonight. That's why I wanted to ask him about the X-Files. I don't like making those analogies, and I don't like comparing the message out of Hollywood to what we do here. Not directly. But there's always that hidden message. But it was what Stephen Greer was saying, and I brought up, us being the hillbillies of the universe. So if you stop and think about this for a second, our technology has come a long way, but certainly that turn of events that happened in the 1940s, 1938, and onwards, with nuclear weapons, and then turning around and doing what we did offensively in Japan was a scary moment and a big deal for human history, right? Now, that right there should have scared the aliens. It should have scared E.T. But also for them to recognize what is going on here and how we can get us back grounded. And I think that's the most important message. And not only from E.T. back to us, but for us ourselves here as well. I mean, we can end everything, civilization as we know it right now. And that's a scary thought, right? But to have E.T. and that message in the X-Files at the end, when he said, you guys are on your own, man. We don't like you. We're done, and we're going to take our toys and go home. It could have been different, but no, you guys screwed it up, and we're done. We built a wall around your solar system. You can't go out, and that's the way that it is. You don't have a choice. And he turns his back. He turns his back, and he's done, and he walks up the stairs and gets on his ship and goes. And what a message to have in the X-Files. And it was kind of comedic, right? It was kind of comedic. Think about that. And that's what the rest of those outside of our community are seeing as far as a message from the X-Files. Think about that. I want to thank Dr. Stephen Greer for coming in tonight and hanging out. It was a great conversation. One that will have to be listened to a few times. Tomorrow night is Fader Night. John Rappaport's going to be here with us. No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by Open Lines all night long. Thank you to everybody that called in tonight. Twitter was on fire. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, Fader night, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.